Okay, hello and welcome back to the Trademark Sports YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing our ladder prediction for the 2024 NRL season. Given there's like less than a month until kickoff, I don't think there's any better time to do it. Obviously, like you could wait till after trials, but I think if you're basing your ladder prediction of trial form, then there's other issues at hand. So look, a lot of people here are going to get a little bit butthurt. It's tough this year to predict a ladder, to be honest, because I think from 13 up, I can see every single team that I've got listed here making the finals, which is crazy. It's awesome for the NRL. Like the comp is so stacked. But I don't think we've actually honestly ever seen a more competitive, just overall competition, because every single club, but honestly Penrith and the Broncos, who were last year's grand finalists, have strengthened and gotten like so much better, which is just great for the comp. But look, without further ado, let's just get into it and start annoying people. Basically, look, wooden spoon. I do have the Bulldogs. I just think, like, when you look at their squad overall, their forward pack, there's issues there, to be honest. Like, the only recognised really front rower is Max King. Obviously, Liam Knight's there as well. You've got like Ryan Sutton, that sort of thing. But look, if there's an injury in that forward pack, there's trouble being spelt there. The depth just isn't great, isn't fantastic. And on top of that as well, you don't know who the seven's going to be for round one yet, and we're less than a month away. I mean, obviously they probably know that more internally than like we do, but I think that's the issue with having so many utilities, is just there's so many people that can play everywhere that like it's just hard to pick a team. And like, the thing is, like, okay, their backline is stacked. Their backline looks really, really good on paper, but there's no point in having a good backline if you haven't got forwards to lay the platform for the halves to then get the good ball to the backs, if you know what I mean. Because like as they always say, it's like forwards determine who wins the game, and backs determined by how much. So yeah, for me, unfortunately, the Bulldogs, I think it's just gonna be another tough year for them. I hope it's not for Doggies fans. You've had to endure a lot of pain, but I think it could be another painful season for the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Move into 16th. Here I have the Raiders, just because of how inexperienced their spine is. I think still got a good forward pack. They've got a decent backline, but a forward pack, either fullback being Chevy Stewart, who hasn't played any NRL games, Xavier Savage, who's played one half season, didn't play at all last year, and then your 5'8's either going to be KO Weeks, who couldn't crack it at Manly, or Ethan Strange, who's played one or two NRL games. Jamal Fogarty is your halfback, but if something happens to him, I think it's next bloke up is Mitch Henderson, who again hasn't played any NRL. And then your number 9 is, well, I think the best 9 at the club is Zach Wolford, and you're not even going to play him, and you won't release him either, which just seems a bit like a tough go to me. But you've also got Danny Levi, who's played a bit of NRL, but nothing crazy, and Tom Starling off the bench, who again, like, he's been there a while, but he's not the best player in the competition by any means. So yeah, that does concern me. Like, it's a bit of a rebuilding phase for the Raiders, and like, I don't think, honestly, like 16th might be a bit harsh, but I just think in those big, like, tight, crucial games that it's just tough for all these young blokes to step up and try and win games against blokes who've been playing NRL for years on years already. Now, in 15th is where I have the Dragons. They could be on for the spoon. A lot of people are like predicting them for the wooden spoon, but I just think Shane Flanagan will have them a bit more short up defensively and have a bit more go about them this season. Like, they lost 5 games in a row by a combined 8 points last season. Under Shane Flanagan, they probably almost win those, and then that's the difference between coming second last and nearly making a run for the finals, to be honest. And as Shane Flanagan said, there's a lot of talented players there that have been underperforming at the St. George Illawarra Dragons, so if he can get the best out of them, I think they honestly would be in more games than not. Hopefully, I mean, for Dragons fans, like including myself, hopefully we don't get those blowouts like we have seen previously, but I think Dragons, yeah, they're probably still bottom 4. There's a lot of good elite talent coming through, but they're just not ready just yet for a full season of first grade, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they really do go, and how Flanagan nurtures this talent coming through while also trying to rebuild and rejig this, like, the roster and the systems and that sort of thing. Look, it's going to take a couple of years for it to really properly work, but yeah, we're just got to be patient as Dragons fans. I think it'd be like the Raiders for this season. The Dragons are building towards the future. It's not meant to happen this season, and it's not going to happen this season, and that's okay, because you're looking more towards the results and how this year is going to be building towards 2025, 2026, 2027 and beyond. At 14th, they have the Tigers, which honestly might even be a little bit too high for them. So they've got a good roster, I'll give them that. The outside backs need a bit of help, but I just want to, I don't know, Benji, first time coach, is going to be interesting to see how he plays, how he can handle being a head coach full time. And you've also got new halves combination. You've got 4 blokes there that are still vying for that halves spot, with Lua coming in 2025. So you've got a lot of things to worry about there, and how it's all going to gel. I don't know. The Tigers, everything seems to be heading towards the right way and the right track, but just something about them doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence, a lot of faith. But I do think they'll be better this season. Again, more competitive. I'm still not hopeful that they'll make the 8. A lot of people are, but not this year, especially given just the strength of the competition. I think, honestly, 14th might even be a little bit too generous. That takes us to 13th, and this is the first team that I can see making the 8, and that's the Manly Ringus Eagles. This seems super, super harsh, but it all rides on Turbo. If Turbo gets injured and that sort of thing, I mean, we say it every single year. If Turbo gets injured, Manly are stuffed. But yeah, there's a couple little different things with Manly that I'm a little bit worried about. Again, if there's injuries to the forwards, their depth isn't fantastic. How's Luke Brooks going to go? I mean, it seems like they have a stack of outside backs, but they're converting Brad Parker into a second rower, letting Tuipulotu go. So, but even then, you've still got that Raymond Viega coming through, so he's pretty good. You brought in Tommy Talau and Jackson Paulo, so we'll see how they go over at Manly. Apparently, it depends where Ruben Garrick plays out of those two, who comes in and is the other outside back for Manly this season, from all reports anyway. But then again, in that scrimmage when they played against the Dragons, apparently Turbo killed it. Apparently Manly killed it. So either that's just a sign that the Dragons are terrible, or Manly are red hot. So again, 13th seems really, really harsh. But I also just am not convinced about Anthony Seibold as an NRL coach, so that's probably why I've got him a little bit lower. And that takes us to 12th. Again, this one seems really, really harsh, but this is the New Zealand Warriors. A couple question marks around them is, are they going to be able to stay fresh with all the travel they've got to do again in 2024? I mean, it's just the thing with the Warriors. They've got to do so much travel, so they usually are used to it, but last year was the first year they've done it in ages. Is there going to be a bit of hangover and fatigue for this season? And as well, can SJ do it again? I think he's 32 now. His body's slowing down. He has been having some injury issues and stuff as well. So can SJ really uphold that and have another Dally M-esque season? But RTS is there, so hopefully we'll take off a bit of the load off him in terms of just being the star in that side. But it'd be interesting to see how he gels with this team as well. But yeah, the Warriors for me, I said it last year and I'll say it again. If they can win 80-90% of their home games and 50% of their away games, they make the finals. That's just this, literally, that's all they've got to do, all they've got to focus on. So make Mount Smart and New Zealand a fortress like they did last season, and then just pick up a game here and there when they're in Australia, and they should be fine. That moves us to 11th, which I'd love to see this team make the finals this season, and that is the Dolphins. They've really bolstered their squad in key areas. They've brought in Herbie Farmworth, they've brought in Tom Flegler. They do still have an aging forward pack, but Flegler comes in and youth and experience, and he's really, really good, so that's handy for them. And the thing with those two signings as well is that they've weakened the Broncos, their big brother, so that's really helpful as well. They brought in Jake Averillo, so they're really bolstering the outside backs, which was a weak point in their squad from last season. I don't really have any other question marks around the Dolphins squad, apart from I feel like Christian Wolf will have a bigger say on the team this season, which will be interesting to see how they play, and if he really does, to be honest, because you've still got Wayne there. But yeah, the Dolphins would certainly be an interesting watch again in 2024. And that takes me to 10th. This is a team that I've sort of been and about where they're going to play, where they're going to finish. And it seems harsh to have them outside of the finals again, but I do have the Parramatta Eels. I'm just not convinced with Brad Arthur and just his tactics and what he's saying. I think come round 1, they'll have 2 hookers. They'll have one on the bench, one starting. But just in today's day and age of the speed of the game, him saying he wants an 80-minute hooker just rings alarm bells for me. Obviously, there's so much quality in that side, but they don't have the depth that they used to. Is something that in 2022 they made the grand final, they had so much depth, forwards coming out the wazoo, but I don't see that as much anymore at Para. Still got issues with their outside backs. Been some holes in their squad for a couple of years now, and they haven't been rectified, and I sort of think, oh well, what are you doing? Unfortunately, one of my bold predictions for this season is that Brad Arthur doesn't survive the year as a Parramatta Eels coach. I think it's just sort of he brought them up from the bottom, from the absolute sticks of the NRL, and now he's built them into a team that's good, playing consistent football, but I think that might be his ceiling there. So we're interesting to see how the Eels go. They got a really tough draw again to start the season, which it's not great for the Eels, and it just gets you off on the wrong foot. So we'll see how the Eels go. I do think they probably will bounce back and make the finals, but look, here we are. And in ninth, another massive bold prediction here is that the Storm missed the top 8 for the first time ever, apart from the salary cap year under Craig Bellamy. They brought in Sean Bloor to bolster their forward pack, but they're still very, very light on forwards. I'm not convinced about Jerome Hughes just as a standalone 7 without Cameron Smith there directing the team. Can Pappy stay fit? Where does Sua Failonga play? What happens if one of the outside backs goes down now that Justin Olam's there? Because respectfully, young Tonopapea and who's the other guy, like Marianne Seve, they're definitely okay quality first graders, but they're not winning you a comp. But in saying that, there's other players in the past that have won comps that are probably less talented than they are. But I don't know. There's something about the energy at the Storm. They're not the Storm of old. Look, they'll probably come out and make top 4. That's just the way these things go. But yeah, for me, I'm not sold on the Storm in 2024. But that brings us to our top 8. There's a couple teams here from last season who missed out that I think will be there. One of those is the team having 8th, and that is the North Queensland Cowboys. Their squad is way too stacked to not make the finals. Tom Lolo, hopefully, with a fire in his belly, come good. Scotty Drinkwater could be on for a Dally M season. Reece Robson will be looking to improve himself. I don't know whether Chad Townsend plays halfback. That is just a question mark. I don't think it's a massive concern for them because you've got guys like Thomas Duffy and Jake Clifford in the background there. But yeah, bringing in Ruben Cotter and Tommy Didden as captains, I think it's a good call. I think just the Tigers, they'll just bounce back. They had a bit of a just down year last year. They just got flogged in their preseason. They had to do 2 massive army camps in a row. I don't think they did one of those this year, so hopefully the boys are fresher and just ready to go in 2024. That takes us to 7th. Now this team, well, maybe I'm just buying into the hype a little bit, but I've got the Gold Coast Titans. I think Des Hasler will get the best out of that squad for sure. I'm really excited about to see how AJ Brimson and Jaden Campbell play together in tandem a little bit there. I think AJ Brimson's going to float a little bit more, which I think is just really exciting for rugby league to watch. A lot of these centres that can play fullback and that sort of thing seem like they're going to be playing a bit of more of that role this year. So that's going to be an interesting watch. They're forward. They're actually just got a really good roster all round. Both Fermor's back from injury. Who else? You got Sam Verrills if he can stay fit for the whole season. I'm excited about the Gold Coast Titans under Desi, and I think they will crack the top 8 this season. In 6th, I have the Cronulla Sharks. They probably could be higher just because their regular, their draw in the regular season is so soft. But here's the thing: the Sharks seem to be just using the definition of insanity at the moment. Just trying the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. They need just to bolster the squad. I guess they've got Fanua Blake coming in 2025, but nothing seems different from last season. Okay, Matt Moylan's gone and Braden Trindle's in, but it was sort of happening last year anyway, towards the back end of the year. I don't know. They could come and prove me wrong, but I still don't see them winning the finals game. Yeah, look, Sharkies will be thereabouts again, just because they've got a good squad and their draw so easy, but yeah, that's... Anyway, move on. I don't really have that much to say about the Sharks. In 5th, I have the Newcastle Knights. Kalen Ponga looks fit and ready to go. Said he wants to get back in the Origin arena, which means he's going to kill it for the Knights to begin the season. And all the boys just look chiseled, look shredded as they're all buying into what they want to do. They got a taste of what they can do last season, and I reckon they're really, really going to try and hit their straps this year. And a home final in Newey, very, very tough to beat them. They could cause some upsets and some disruptions in the competition this year, take off some big scalps. They've just got so much belief in themselves and their own playing group, which is unbelievable. It's just a confidence game, just sport in general, mental over physical, to be honest. And I think the Knights boys really, really believe in themselves, and they could be on for another really good year. But that takes us to our top 4. There's 4 big teams here. In 4th, I have the Roosters. Now, we say it every single year that they've got a really, really good squad, but the last couple of years are underperformed. And I think it's just been a bit of hiccups and teething issues adjusting to life under Sam Walker as their halfback. They've just had Cooper Cronk come in, win on some comps, and then they haven't really clicked and gelled since then. And then they brought in Brendan Smith again last year. And I just think it all starts to fall into place this year. I think James Tedesco really finds his best form. I think yeah, Sammy Walker comes back and plays some really good footy. Had a bit of second season syndrome to start of the year last year. Had a disrupted season. I think he's back, ready to go. Prove people wrong. Brandon Smith is used to living in Sydney now, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Used to the systems he's got in place now. I think the Roosters are definitely really, really good. You've got, add Dom Young onto one wing and Spencer Leniu off the bench or starting. Like, it's not really fair, man, is it? And that takes us to third, where I have the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Now, we're quick to forget that halfway through the season last year, they were winning the comp and looked red hot. Looked like they could be the team to take down Penrith. And then, look, some off-field issues happened, some things in the background, and we might never know that. We might find out what exactly happened in later years, but look, that's done. And I think that's the attitude the Rabbitohs are having. That's in the past. Let's move towards 2024. Latrell's come back looking fit as. Like, it's the fittest I've seen Latrell in years, honestly, and that's a scary sight for the NRL. And he's reduced his injury risk just by getting fitter is ridiculous. So he could be on for a really, really good full year, and having his best mate Jack White in there, he just seems a lot happier. And I think the team sort of doesn't revolve around Latrell, but when Latrell's happy and like when Latrell's on form, the rest of the team's on form. Cameron Murray looks fit and ready to go. You've also got, like, I think Lockie Ilias will have a bounce back season. Like, everyone's saying, like, oh, he's got nothing, he's no good, but second year syndrome is a massive thing in the NRL, especially for playmakers. Like, he just needs to back himself and have a bit of confidence in his game. I think he's got a really good kicking game and good organisational skills which he can build off. And yeah, like, just let Cody Walker do all the playmaking and just direct his team around the park, and he'll be fine. In second, I have the Broncos again. They'll be looking to build off another year. They've obviously lost Herbie Farnworth and Tommy Flegler, so their squad isn't as good as last season, but you still got like Reece Walsh at the back. Ezra Mam only getting better. Adam Reynolds still directing the boys around. You've also got Payne Haas, Paddy Carrigan. Their team is still so stacked. Still on Cobbo and Tony Staggs in the centres, which is just awesome. And then you got like guys coming through that can bleed this year, like Ben Takura and Blake Moser, which can shock the competition. I still think that they're probably the favourites to knock off Penrith. I think the way I sort of see the NRL at the moment is like, in 2020, Melbourne Storm were the big dogs for a while, and then Penrith came up as the challengers, got knocked off, and they came back and won the comp, and they have ever since. So now Penrith are the big dogs. They've like the up-and-comers Broncos, met them in the grand final in 2023, lost. Will like that sort of pattern repeat itself when they come in and knock off the Panthers this year? I'm not sure. I'm not going to like bet on it, but I think the Broncos definitely are like better for that experience. And it takes us obviously to Penrith winning the minor premiership. Their team's just so stacked. Even though they've lost Stephen Crichton and also Spencer Leniu, they've brought in other guys. They've got guys just waiting in the wings. Their nursery is ridiculous. Still got Nathan Cleary there, who's turning 26 or 27 this year, I believe. Like, his best footy's still not even yet to come. Still got Dylan Edwards there. Still got Brian To'o, Jerome Luai's there for this season. Still like Fisher Harrison, Leota up front. Isaiah Yeo locking the scrum. Liam Martin on one edge. Just like ridiculous. Tungo, Taruva. Their squad's so good, man. And they know how to win now. They're a bunch of winners. I think the minor premiership's theirs for the taking. And look, we could be staring down the barrel of 4 in a row. So there's my ladder prediction. Roast me in the comments, to be honest. I feel like there's going to be a lot of upset fans, especially towards that lower end of the table. But like as I said, guys, I think every single team from 13th upwards has a chance to make the finals in 2024. And even like a team like the Raiders, they always come out and surprise us. We always think, there's no way they're going to make the finals and whatnot. And Ricky Stewart just gets them up and delivers year after year. So even they could be a smoky to make the 8. Let me know what your ladder prediction is in the comments. Thank you for watching. And remember to Scotty, drink your water.